Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tech Sharmit podcast. Today, I'm here with another special guest, Kevin Moore, who is joining us all the way from United States of America. Kevin is one of the well-known Google developer expert, a published author, and a respected thought leader in the tech industry. With more than 14 plus years of professional experience, Kevin is a true expert who have the expertise of Android development, Flutter, and Kotlin multi-platform. He has a proven track record of building cutting-edge solution and shaping the future of mobile development. So, in this episode, we will explore Kevin's incredible journey and his contributions as a Google developer expert. But before we start the discussion, I would like to thank Kevin for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us something about yourself.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me on. Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. Really enjoyed it. I've been doing, like I said, Android development for over 14 years. It's one of those areas where I think it's really important to have a curiosity and interest in new technologies. And at the time, in I think it was 2010, there was these new Google phones coming out, and I was fascinated by them, and I really wanted to learn how to program them. And since the time it was written in Java and I knew Java, that helped my decision. I'd looked at iOS, but wasn't a real big fan of Objective-C, so I decided to stick with Android and do Java development. So I did that for 14 years. And then I've done Flutter for about 4 years. Again, it's just one of those things where you're like, oh, this new technology, let's take a look. And, that's why I think it is really important to have that curiosity and interest in new technologies, keeping up with that.
Okay. So, like, just after your graduation, you started with this development things, or like, what were the initial things that inspired you to start with the development part?
So, well, I've actually been developing a lot longer than that. I've
Okay.
worked in a lot of different fields from aerospace to educational games to all kinds of different things, web technologies as well. I do like more UI centered type development, especially that's why mobile phones are so nice for me because you're giving apps for people to use and they get to enjoy the user interface and the functionality of it. So I really enjoy that. But yeah, no, I just started. I'm always trying to learn the latest technologies. I think that's really important because usually, because I've seen many technologies come and go. You
Right.
will, um, after a while, they'll just die out. And if you're not on the new technology, you're going to be left behind. So, I've always tried to move on to the next technology there.
Okay. So, did you get a chance to prepare or develop any kind of game on the application?
For the phone, no. Yeah, I haven't done really any kind of games. It's mostly been
Okay.
productivity, finance, banking, that kind of
Right.
stuff, a lot of that type of apps. To be honest with you, when I started though, it was actually more for myself.
Okay.
One of the typical things is like either note taking or to-do type lists, things. And I have a very bad memory, so one of the things that got me motivated was to write a to-do list type app. So
Mhm.
that's been kind of my favorite app to write and in different fields and stuff. So in fact, that's actually one of the things that got me started on Flutter is I
Okay.
had a lot of Java Swing apps for the Mac, and Apple doesn't really like Java, and it was always such a pain, and I didn't want people to have to install Java for it. So with Flutter, I could write a Mac app as also working on my phone and so forth. And I didn't have to have Java installed. And it was just lightning fast. So that was a real eye opener because it was cross platform and just worked everywhere and it was very fast. So.
All right. Okay. So, Kevin, like as we know that you are a Google developer expert, especially for the Flutter technology, so, which is a
Mhm.
quite prestigious recognition in the development community. So, can you share like what it means to you to be a GD and how it has impacted your professional journey?
I definitely appreciate the recognition, but again, what a GDE is a recognition of what you're already doing in the industry.
Correct.
So you don't get this unless you're already like doing talks, writing books, doing podcasts, and so forth. So it is really important that if you're interested in GDE, that you go out and do those things, that you help community support people and do that kind of stuff. So,
Okay. All right. And apart from playing the role of GD and contributing to this community, you are also uh, you are also be appreciated and respected for the books that you have authored, because you have authored various books and courses. So like you are often seen as a thought leader in this field. So how do you manage to your time to balance your responsibilities as a GD, as a creator, and as a developer?
well, first of all, I started out with Cadeco writing articles for them.
Mhm.
And that was, and to be honest with you, one of the things about teaching is that you learn things yourself. So
Right.
it's a really good way to, sometimes I will start an article not know anything about it, but I have to do all the research. I have to, write the apps, have to do all the things to learn it. And then by teaching it, you really even learn it more.
Mhm.
Um, and I will say that my kids are grown now, so I have a bit more time. So that helps a lot as far as time goes. But yeah, it's also a hobby, I think. So that makes it I put more time into it because I do enjoy it. And I'm always, looking to learn more things.
Okay. All right. And like if we talk about the technical expertise and future trends, so what would you say are the most important skills or technologies every mobile developer should master in today's ecosystem?
Um, I would basically say the basic understanding of how software works, all the, there's different people will talk about things like model view controller patterns
Yeah.
and, the different types of patterns that are involved. So I think it's important that you understand it. Um, Usually, like if you go for interviews with like Google and so forth, you need to know like all the algorithms and how to do things from school. I'm not very good at those things, so I don't do well in those kind of tests. But I think it is important to understand software development as a technology and profession and stuff. So.
Okay, so let's say if someone wants to start their career in the mobile development domain
Mhm.
in the year of 2024, so what would be the right path they can follow? Like what would be your suggestion to all those who wanted to pursue their career in the mobile development area?
Yeah, I would definitely try to find some courses. You don't necessarily nowadays have to go to university,
Right.
but I think finding a good course, learning the right way to do it. I'm currently working on a project where the developer didn't really know how to develop software very well, so now I have to redo a lot of that stuff. So understanding the basics before you start is really important.
Right.
And then do some hobby projects and don't be afraid to throw the project away. I've gone back to some older projects and gone, oh, what was I doing? What was I thinking? Because as you learn more, you evolve and stuff.
Right.
So.
Okay, and technical wise, like technology wise, what would be your initial few suggestion? Yes, this is the technology that they can start with, and then later on they can follow other upcoming technologies. So, what would be the initial technology for the students?
Well, really, the key thing in all of this is what interests you. Don't
Hmm.
do something just because it's the most popular. Do it because it interests you.
Correct. Yeah.
Because you're not going to, when things get hard, and they will get hard, you're not going to pursue it if you're not really interested in it. So you
Correct.
have to have that curiosity, have that interest, and be willing to put in the hard work that it takes to learn it. Because there are times where I'm pulling out my hair, as you can tell, I don't have any, but just trying to solve a certain problem. I will say now with AI. around, it makes life a lot easier for programmers because there's many times where I don't know the answer to it, and I can just ask, you know, ChatGPT or Google AI to like, how do I, solve this? So that helps. But be careful. You have to know what you're doing because it may not necessarily give you the right answer. So.
Yes, right. Okay. And how do you see the future of mobile development with the involvement of AI? Because nowadays, some everywhere there is a myth around the AI that it is going to take the jobs of mobile developer and other software engineers. So, what is your thought here?
So I really see it as a tool. I
Okay.
don't think I don't believe that AI will take over our jobs as
Hmm.
developers because it can spit out code that it's basically found on the internet and stuff, but it can't really, at least not now and not for a while, do really large code work, can do little sections. And a lot of times that's all you need it for. It's like, how do I do this? How do I do this button or whatever? It'll give you some starting point code. So I
Okay.
think it really is a tool, and I don't really feel like it will take our jobs. So,
Okay. So we can say that it is something that can help you, and it is
right.
not here to take out your jobs.
Yeah, nothing to
So
be afraid of. Yeah.
right. Okay. All right. So let's talk a bit about your expertise, that is Flutter and Android. So you have worked with both of these technologies, Android as well as Flutter. So what are some of the unique challenges you faced or you witnessed when transitioning from a native Android developer mindset to a cross-platform frameworks like Flutter?
Well, Android, of course, you're very focused on just that one platform, whereas in Flutter, you're like you see all the different platforms, and so then you're focused more on plugins. Which plugins do I need to get the job done for the platforms that I support?
Okay.
Now, if you're supporting web, you have to be careful because not all plugins support that. So you have to be,
Yes.
look at the site and make sure that it works for that.
Okay. All right. And like nowadays, everyone is talking about the Kotlin multi-platform, which is
Mhm.
becoming a more popular nowadays. And you
Right.
also wrote one book on it. So in your book, Kotlin multi-platform by tutorials, you dive into this topic in a deeply manner. So what do you think is the future of Kotlin multi-platform in terms of mobile app development?
Yeah, it's definitely a path that a lot of developers are going to take, especially companies that are really entrenched in their own, technologies for, Android or iOS. It's a good way to like do the business logic so that you can share that among Android and iOS. I know that one company I worked at, we were trying to get Flutter in, and it was really hard because everything was set up for Android and iOS. So
Yes.
maybe Kotlin multi-platform might be a way to bridge that gap to get that cross-platform work in there. It is definitely a lot newer techno or less mature than Flutter. Flutter's been around for a long time and is very solid, whereas Kotlin multi-platform I feel is changing all the time. There's new versions coming out. The web isn't stable. It's still got a lot of work to go before it's
Right.
really ready.
Okay. Here I would like to ask one question, because you are doing various things throughout your professional journey. Like you are playing a role of GD, you are playing a role of author, and many other things. So how do you like take care of those obstacles that you might face or you have faced in your early days? So because someday like we all feel that yes, there are some challenges in day-to-day life and we have to deal with it. So what is your mindset, like how you deal with those kind of obstacle and roadblockers?
Are you talking about like how we mentally deal with it?
Yes, right.
Yeah. So I do enjoy video games.
Okay.
So one of the things I do is I kind of reward myself. I say like, okay, if I got this bit of code done, I'll play, be able to play some games, So that's
Yes.
kind of my way of doing that. And that is very relaxing for me. I like playing role-playing games and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun.
Okay. And like you are working in this industry for a very, very long time, more than 14 years. So what do you think, like apart from these technical skill, we all know that technical skill is something that we should have in order to like be in a IT industry. Apart
Right.
from this, what all other things you think that yes, these are the some essential skills that everyone should have in order to be a great leader in the industry?
Communication skills are really important. I can't tell you the amount of times where developers that need to communicate with each other, there's that conflict there of understanding each other. So that's
Right.
really important that you be able to communicate well, that you be able to resolve issues and stuff. Um, I think as developers, um, we tend to like think that we know the best way to do it. And the problem is when you get several developers thinking that, then there might be some conflict. So you being able to work through that is really important. So,
Right, I completely agree here because in IT industry, like we are working in a team, and the first and
right.
important thing is to understand the requirement. If we don't understand the requirement of each other or the task given by client, then it would be a bit like tedious for us to do those kind of thing in a smooth manner. So communication
Right.
is something that can help you to understand the things more easily and to grab the concepts. So yeah,
Right.
that is something that everyone should have. Okay, let's talk bit about the open source and community contributions. So like you can you share many of your apps freely with the community, maybe in your early days or right now also. So can you tell us about the inspiration behind this and how the open source has influenced your journey, because you have been actively contributing, like previously also you shared some of the apps. So what is the intention behind it?
Well, one of the things is it's really nice if people can look at it and give feedback and say, hey, you can improve it here. I like this, that kind of thing. Just being able to have that ability to work with other developers. I know that one of the cool things about Flutter plugins and packages is most of that stuff is open source, so you can look at
Mhm.
their code, see what they're doing, see how they do it, and then maybe even contribute. And so I think that's really important.
Okay. Okay. And let's say if someone wants to learn about the Flutter specifically, and they don't have that much of technical knowledge, but they want to learn something new about that this technology. So what would be the right roadmap you can share in order to learn this thing? Like how they can, I know like they can do projects and many other things, but what would be initial or basic step that can someone can follow in order to learn the Flutter?
I definitely go to the Flutter docs first
Mhm.
and then see if there's any courses out there. There are some free courses or some that are paid, but try to find a course that will teach you that. They also
Mhm.
have some code labs on certain technologies that are really helpful as well.
Okay. Is there any prerequisite technology like that? Yes, this is the technology that you should know before directly starting learning about the Flutter.
Um, well, part of Flutter is learning the Dart language, so you have to
Mhm.
learn that. That's probably a little bit like JavaScript, so if you know that, that might help. But
Okay.
yeah, you have to kind of learn that. Dart's actually
Mhm.
quite robust. I mean, there's a lot to it, and especially now that they came out with the latest version, it's got a lot of features to it. So learning that will really help.
Okay. Why I'm asking this question? Because most of the time I saw that especially the Java developers get influenced with the Flutter, and they also start learning about the Flutter and they try to prepare the application through it. So as you mentioned, like JavaScript is also the thing that can be relatable with the Flutter. So that is one more option
Yeah, because
for all those.
I'm pretty sure, now I could be wrong about this, but I think that, originally Dart was designed as like a web-based language and stuff. And
Okay.
so, but it's evolved to support multiple platforms. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, like Kevin, we all know that as a thought leader and as industry expert, you're playing a role of mentors for many of us. But here, I would like to ask, like reflecting back on your career, who would you consider as your mentors or influencers, and what special attribute you have inherited from them?
So right now, I watch a YouTube channel called Hump Day Q&A. by
Okay.
Simon Lightfoot and Randall Schwartz. And that's an amazing show because Simon, it's just incredible. He's got incredible memory where he just knows Flutter inside and out. And
Okay.
um, they basically just answer questions from people. And I learn so much every time, every day. It's like every week. And so I really enjoy watching that.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's talk bit about your activities because you have been as I mentioned earlier also like you have been consistently working for this industry and contributing in different roles. So what activities do you pursue in your free time and like how do they help you to relax and unwind from your professional things?
As I mentioned, I do some video games,
Yeah.
but I also get to speak at conferences. So I just got back from Calgary, Canada, and spoke at a conference there. So it's really fun to get out there and meet new people. I
Yes.
really enjoy doing that. I give a talk on Flutter versus Kotlin multi-platform, so that's a pretty fun topic to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, I also noticed that you have spoken at various conferences. So, is there any specific moment or anything special that you recollect at the moment that yes, this was the event where you got some insights or that was very special for you?
Um, I don't know about any specific ones. All of them have been really good at, just again, meeting people, doing the networking and stuff. I think that's
Yes.
really important. So, especially if like you're looking for a job, I think that's really
Hmm.
important to go to these conferences, find
Right.
people that maybe are in your industry and help them. They might be able to help you find a job and stuff. So I think that's really important.
Correct. Yeah. Because networking is something that allows you to stay in touch with all like-minded people. They can
Right.
collaborate. They can find out that solution for the problem that they might be facing. Because every day, like we have to deal with various scenarios, and it is for sure like it is possible that others might have faced it earlier. So they can help you. They can directly uh, guide you and give you the roadmap to solve and deal with it. So that is
Right.
one of the best option to stay in touch with other industry experts. Okay, so like as a GDE or as a Google developer expert, is there any particular ongoing project on which you really for which you are really interested and excited to launch it in the upcoming days?
Yeah, so I'm writing a new book called
Okay.
Mastering Flutter. And this is actually my first book that I'm doing by myself. And
Okay.
as I'm realizing it's a lot of work to do it by yourself. At Cadeco, we had like a team of three authors and a bunch of editors and that kind of thing. So doing it by yourself is a lot of work. I'm almost finished, so hopefully it'll come out next year. I should be finished. I'm about finished with the last chapter now, so um,
Okay.
it's getting close.
Okay, but I think prior to that, you also authored some of the books, maybe with some other
Yeah.
members, right?
Right. Yeah, at Cadeco, I did the Flutter Apprentice, which Google used in some of their videos. Android Apprentice, Kotlin multi-platform by tutorials. And then I was a tech editor on one and stuff. So I really been enjoying writing the books. The articles were good, but they're pretty short. Videos are pretty tough to do because, as you probably know, doing all the editing and stuff. So
Yeah.
books are kind of a nice change from all that. So
Okay. And for those like who might not be familiar with Kodaku, so could you please share bit information about it, like what exactly it is and how it is impacting the industry?
yeah, so it's a company and website. It was established a long time ago. Started out doing iOS programming.
Mhm.
Then they added Android development and then Flutter development. And now they do boot camps, they do books, videos, articles, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really good place, and people from all over the world work for them. I
Okay.
know a lot of people in Europe and Asia and so forth. In fact, one of our authors on the Flutter book is in Vietnam. So we had
Mhm.
people from all over the world working on it. So
Okay, so you just mentioned about the boot camp. So is there any specific criteria that that is supposed to be follow in order to join those kind of boot camps, or like anyone who are interested in development can join?
so those are usually for beginners. So it's a really good spot to get started. Like if you really wanted to get started, possibly looking for a job doing that, the boot camps are really good for that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk a bit about your books, because we discussed like you have authored some of the books and in fact the articles as well. So can you tell us about one of your favorite or most rewarding book that you have authored and released to the public?
I would say Flutter Apprentice. We've gone through like four editions of it. So that, and each edition is a lot of work. I know every time
Yes.
like Flutter makes a change, like they made a really big change, the null safety change, and that required like a huge amount of changes and stuff. So it was definitely a work of love there. Really enjoyed doing it, working with the team. And then having Google pick it up, they actually sponsored the book for a while. They had some videos and talked about it, and it was like a book club, so they went through different chapters and tried to help people through it. And so that was a lot of fun. I got to be on one of their episodes for that.
Okay. And just one last question, although like there are many things that we can discuss here, but I want to ask my last question, which is regarding your book itself. Like if let's say if someone wants to purchase that book, or if someone wants to read those books, so what is the exact process that they can follow in order to get those book?
They're all available on Amazon, so they can order them from there.
Okay, from the Amazon.
Yeah.
And by when we can expect the book on which you are currently working?
Probably like January, I think January, February. The publishers, this is actually working with a publisher. So once we finish, then it has to go through, I don't know, all the process they go through in putting it together. And this is going to be like a hardback book and stuff. So that'll be pretty cool.
Okay, all right. So thank you so much, Kevin, for joining in this podcast and for sharing your expertise with us, especially for the mobile app development. I'm pretty much sure that those who are interested to pursue their career for the mobile development, they will learn a lot from this discussion. So thank you once again for being a part of this show.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.